is so much on the line and the fight is definitely on. We're going to head on over to our casters to take us through this game. We got Tony and Walshy on the mics, and boys, this is a big one.
Is a big one. We're talking FaZe going up against Quadrant. Quadrant fresh off of making history at that top 3 finish the last time we saw them on land. Meanwhile, FaZe trying to pull off the 3-peat. Both find themselves in the elimination bracket. How crazy is that?
Yeah, and also so early. Our stats person, Easy Mac, was letting us know this is the first time since Worlds that this core trio from FaZe has been in the elimination bracket this early. They've always been making it to that winner's finals.
Well, this is the rematch from pool play back at Arlington. It was FaZe that pulled off the 3-1 win against Quadrant, but since then, Quadrant have been looking different. Like we said, 3rd place at Arlington, finishing out. Now coming in, they want to match that here. Game number 1, live fire oddball. We know that that's FaZe's 2nd best game type so far. In fact, they're undefeated here in this tournament. If you're Quadrant, how do you go up against FaZe in oddball?
Oh man, I mean, it's clearly been a team effort, but one thing that has been sticking out so far from Quadrant as far as oddball goes is that person on your screen closest to us, Lqgend. He has been getting the most time for his team while also putting up the most kills. So he's been getting approximately 40% of the ball time during all their oddball games while still putting up the biggest stats.
So you would say he's having a legendary performance. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna do that to you this early, but no, Lqgend might be one of the easily the baddest men in the EU right now. I feel like us in North America, I feel like we've been sleeping on him. Meanwhile, the guys overseas, they already know. They know how good Lqgend is. They know that he might just be the best player in the game coming across the pond.
That's right. Lqgend on the far end. Sorry, I incorrectly said that for a moment. But regardless, this squad, they're already mentally prepped for this long elimination bracket run. Whereas FaZe, you know, they were not ready for this. They were not ready to be in this position. They now have to bounce back. Clearly, they have a strong mental game. They have been through these sort of situations over and over again. They've had their backs against the walls. But in short, they don't have any reverse. They are fighting for their Sunday life.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost easier to like roll downhill when momentum's on your side. You're fighting into the winners bracket finals, fighting into the grand finals. You got all that momentum carrying you forward. It's easier than maybe when your back's against the wall and now FaZe are fighting for their tournament lives.
Yeah, and also look at those stats there. SnakeBite putting up some scary numbers himself. SnakeBite maybe not as heavy in the kill department compared to Lqgend. However, SnakeBite has been getting 51% of the ball time for his team, FaZe, so far.
Well, FaZe about to show you why they're undefeated here in this game type and map combination. We're going into game number 1. It's oddball, live fire. We're on board with the reigning MVP and SnakeBite. Watch the FaZe.
And look at this. SnakeBite sees nobody's over near Nest. That means his teammates are getting outnumbered on the overshield side of the map. SnakeBite able to get that heat wave. Now, what can he do with it? He's got the sniper in his sights and has to back that player down into the tunnel.
Overshield just about up here. See 3 members of FaZe over toward the A side, but when you control the tower, you get the shroud, and SnakeBite bounces that player back with the repost, trays out his life, and I'm not sure what happened to Overshield. It's actually sitting in mid-map, and Quadrant might have just stole it away.
Yeah, TchiK's got that overshield. Frosty's got the ball. We are going to see a collapse coming in from Quadrant, and there's no way that FaZe are going to be able to effectively rotate this ball away. They have to get the kills and fight their way out of garage. They take down TchiK, the biggest threat there. But it's a 1-for-1, and kills are rolling in on both sides.
FaZe able to deal with that overshield player. In fact, Royal 2 gets the double kill out of nowhere, but the return grenades are coming in. Somehow avoids it. Body shot with the sniper. Royal 2 says, get out of my house.
Last time these two teams matched up in pool play, it was Royal 2 and SnakeBite who topped the charts in slaying. And no surprise once again, as they have 8, make that 9 of the team's 10 kills to kick it off here against Quadrant.
12-0 start coming in for FaZe, and Sniper rifle in the hands of the Demon, just barely missing on the headshot, but the body shot still going to connect. You see SnakeBite running into the Heat Wave and BR combination himself. That's going to leave Renegade by himself, and eventually Renegade is dealt with. 4 down for FaZe.
All 4 down. Here's Lqgend. He doesn't have the ball, but he does have the Bandit and BR. He's setting up for this overshield. Coming up here in just a moment and fighting off against Royal 2. But where's his help? His teammates were backed off a little bit, and that's just going to be 3 down for Quadrant. I don't know how Quadrant are going to be able to get this OS. That's going to be overshield going in the hands of FaZe, along with that ball going in the hands of Renegade.
When that overshield is coming up, you have to find a way to stay alive and slay out. Quadrant going 3 down at the most brutal time, giving World 2 overshield. You already know how straight his BR shoots. Don't give him any extra shields.
TchiK over in the nest trying to buy some time, but these spawns are getting staggered. Sica, the last one alive, and they aren't certain where he's at. You see Royal 2 checking his back, not sure if it's Garage, not sure if they're lurking around somewhere else, and Sica somehow sneaks out a kill, taking out SnakeBite, so they found where that last player is at, but the damage has been done. Spawns have come in, and Quadrant on the push.
And although World 2 and FaZe were able to get away with the overshield, no ball time being accumulated for FaZe. Quadrant now going to clear him out, but it looks like FaZe, they get the ball this time.
Now, this is a little worrisome. Now, FaZe, they're doing a great job getting the slays, but they're not getting the objective efficiency to back it up. You saw how they were looking for that final kill on Sica, and they weren't able to track him down quick enough. Last time that these two played each other, the game types were very, very close. We're talking 1 hill difference. We're talking 1 cap difference. But the slaying was heavily in the favor of FaZe, with every single member of Quadrant, I believe, going negative. So in an event like this, if FaZe are going to go even or ahead in slays, they better take that objective efficiency in their favor.
Quadrant's ultra-aggressive playstyle and willingness to send bodies at you really a thorn in the side of FaZe, but once they got that 3 down, that's when you see that lead start to increase. 34-14 lead coming out of FaZe, but the first kill goes towards Quadrant. FaZe gonna match that. They're holding on to the setup. What a shot by SnakeBite.
All 4 members of Quadrant push, and all 4 of them shut down. FaZe taking up more real estate right here. They're rotating this ball on over towards Garage. They're going to grab that overshield and decide where to go next. And an interesting use of that Shroud just right away. Concealing his position. Renegade pops that OS, knows where some of these players are at, takes the one-on-one at Keydor, but loses OS. Oh, he did not get hit by that spiker. So no loss of OS there for Renegade, and 3 down for Quadrant.
That was actually 4. SLG, he just got up, and his teammates all around. All my friends are dead, says SLG. It looks like he's going to join them because FaZe, they identified the spawners. The pressure comes in. We said it before. If you give FaZe the overshield, you are going to be in trouble. And while all that happens, 69 points and counting for FaZe. That's nice.
FaZe are just looking so good. And it feels like every single time Quadrant's pushes are ineffective. They're getting shut down by FaZe, or FaZe are in these sneaky spots, just like that. We had seen previously where TchiK had no idea that Royal 2 was sitting there at OS, even though Royal 2 was shooting another member of Quadrant over at the plat. So it goes to show that some of these communications are being lost here on the Quadrant side.
Once again, Quadrant going 3 down, but they are quickly to come up. We got 2 members already pushing the dummy side, but they're quickly running out of time. And SnakeBite's Nate somehow is going to connect. Play ball is forced out, but you look at the score line, you only need a few more seconds as FaZe to take round 1.
Yeah, it's just such a heavy amount of outslaying. We're looking at 40 kills to Quadrant's 25. So they are just able to get so much more pressure and presence across the map. And I like how SnakeBite didn't try to just force those last remaining seconds and get a play ball. Instead, he plays it early. He goes for map control and realizes that if they can continue to outslay and have map control, they will take down Quadrant here.
Both Sniper and Overshield coming up at the exact same time. Quadrant have to manage to keep FaZe away from the ball and try to defend these resources. Nades are going down, forcing SnakeBite to back out just a bit, but dives in for the Overshield. Nobody home. That's practically free for SnakeBite.
Yeah, OS snagged. SnakeBite going down in the tunnel. Gonna take out Lqgend. Gonna hunt down SLG. And that's gonna be a double kill and a killing spree. Ball going in hand shortly.
3 down for Quadrant. 1 more player alive trying to do damage. It looks like TchiK was able to hold Royal 2 off, but Renegade drops right down, steals away that ball. Now you're talking just 5 more seconds needed. Looks like Renegade gonna retreat over toward the screen side. Quadrant are desperately throwing nade after nade. The nade does connect, but it's too little too late. FaZe are taking round 1.
Round 1 going so strong in their favor, and I gotta credit that to the massive amount of outslaying. It felt like every single time Quadrant would have one member go down, the rest would get outnumbered back and forth, and not the start you want. Lqgend taken out, SLG taken out, Sniper in the hands of FaZe, and they're grab Heatwave and the ball. Super quick kills and quickly grabbing that ball and getting their own setup.
FaZe are matching Quadrant's ultra aggressive play style, and ball gets played over towards the mid map right as Overshield is coming up. We see Renegade pushing up, but
yeah, there was a quick error there, so I believe they'll be restarting here on this round 2. So we'll likely be going right back into a 1-0 lead here for FaZe, and we'll find out what went on there. But in short, we are seeing FaZe just completely dominate in the slaying department there in round number 1.
I'm actually surprised Renegade was able to betray his teammate with the Heatwave. You ain't getting no aim assist on that
my
one.
Heatwave don't connect like that, I'll tell you that.
Shots right there, okay. I see you, Renegade. Make sure the shots are warm no matter what. You know, you're coming into the next game, and you know Quadrant gonna come with that heat.
So, yep, we'll get a ruling here in just a moment as to what the plan and next steps are. Oh, and they're going to continue playing. I was under the impression that a lot of these people were kind of taking a step back, but don't stop until the TO or ref says to. So, right there, these players just assumed something was going to change, and this game is still very much alive.
What do we call it? A fake down. That's the whoop-de-wop right there. You know, hey, stop moving. We're going to act like them. We're going to come right back at you, and Quadrant able to take over that ball time. Renegade with the sniper does force the play ball situation and gets the double kill working. That pole does Renegade, and now FaZe get control.
Yeah, these teams and players got bounced back right away. FaZe trying to get a step of their own. Last time they just tossed it out fatuously. They must have, or uncertain of what the situation was. And so here we go with Renegade getting this kill, grabbing the OS, and they're in a prime position to get a setup of their own. But that has to be that has to be rattling when you're uncertain of the situation.
Well, as of right now, Renegade looks sure of something, and he wants to slay. Double kill turns into the killing spree. Still has the overshield to work with. I don't know why Frosty stole the triple kill. That ain't right, but it doesn't matter. Quadrant go 3 down. Renegade still has that OS. You find 2 spawners over towards the A corner. Quadrant are in trouble.
Yeah, but Renegade just gonna back on down for a short moment. We have a full push coming in from Quadrant. This has historically been shut down, and look at that pressure over on Lqgend. Sica taken down as well on the sandbags. Every single time these members of Quadrant are pushing out, they're assuming they're gonna meet engagements closer to the oddball, but these members of FaZe are spreading out. They're going a little bit further. They're getting these sneaky angles. One way that Quadrant can punish that is if they check those sneaky angles first. They need to get a pick before they get too close to the oddball.
Renegade has been absolutely going off. We've been staying on board with him as far as this life since he had that overshield, and we've seen multi-kill after multi-kill, even a few assists, and somehow he's still alive, putting his 21st kill, make it 22. Quadrant, if they gotta slow down Renegade, they really do. Renegade starting to heat up big time.
They gotta slow him down, but at the same time, that oddball is gonna be tough. You can't get an angle until they charge towards back green, and they already have a setup at Nest. I believe a bit of a premature play ball there from Royal 2. TchiK and Quadrant are going to welcome that. They did not want to sprint all the way over towards green, and all of a sudden, they no longer have to. So with that early play ball, you see Quadrant grabbing it, moving up towards Garage, and Quadrant kind of have 2 options in this situation. They need to either get in a play ball situation, or they need to get in the strongest set possible. And that strongest set possible can be in Garage if they have numbers.
Well, as of right now, Quadrant's starting to find the kills. That's until Frosty is able to take down Sica right as Overshield coming up, and Quadrant can't afford to give away yet another Overshield. FaZe only need, 11, 12 seconds in order to take this game. But SnakeBite has it, and eventually that ball is going to be forced off the map.
Yeah, ball's going to get ready to be played. There it goes off. SnakeBite has OS and Snipe helping to get control of this bottom center. And he has an option. Does he just grab this and run it? 2 are down. You know he's going to grab that, especially since he gets 50% of the time here for FaZe.
SnakeBite immediately snatching up that ball and over towards the A side. There's not a single member of Quadrant over here onto the house side of the map. And just a few more seconds, it looks like FaZe not only taking the round, but also taking game number 1.
A bit of a surprising game there, but we will be going next onto Slayer Streets here for game 2. If slaying is anything like we saw in that game number 1, FaZe are looking solid. However, one thing that Quadrant have going on for them is game number 3 is a stronghold. And Tony, what's Quadrant's record on strongholds, just historically on land?
I mean, they're okay. They're okay. You know, they're considered middle of the pack. They're 16-0.
16-0. You're saying they have not lost a stronghold yet on land. However, one little caveat to that is, have we seen them play Solitude stronghold yet?
No, that's a good question. But well, hold on. They came from the H5 days. I used to cast SLG and Lqgend over the H. And let me tell you, Lqgend was one of the best 2s players around, and that carried over to 4. So something tells me that Quadrant are a bit familiar with Solitude. But before we get there, you got to take them on game 2 on Street. Why don't we take a look at the highlights here on Live Fire?
Yeah, so many times we'd see Renegade be one shot and turn around and fight a brand new target that's also one shot. Just that confidence in his shot and how quick he is to listen to comms and fight that new target. It was incredibly impressive throughout that match when I was watching Renegade. And this guy was just doing a little bit of everything.
It's really tough to get into any kind of rhythm if you're on the side of Quadrant when you have a player that's being that dominant on the map. Like, legitimately, Renegade was influencing almost every single engagement, whether it was a kill, whether it was an assist. He's putting damage on the map, and he's moving so comfortably. You're going up against that. It's tough, and mind you, Frosty's right next to him as far as slays. So is Royal 2. It's all of FaZe matching your aggressive playstyle.
Yeah, and let's take a quick look at these team Slayer records here in 2023 so far. Clearly, FaZe are the favorites as they are 25-11 in Slayer throughout the 2023 circuit, and Quadrant 15-17. You have 2 Slayers you have in this series. You gotta win at least one of them given the current situation if they want to somehow take down FaZe in this best of 5.
I will say that's quite impressive, but that goes Charlotte, DreamHack, Arlington, and Salt Lake City is at 25-11 out of FaZe. But so far this event, 3-2 in Slayer. So
starting to shift the tides. Yeah, you know, maybe they took a really strong look, and also you consider at some of these earlier events they didn't have their full-on proper roster. You know, with Quadrant, you know, they had a couple shakeups here or there. So something to be said for more recency bias. I always give that where, you know, if the team's doing stronger now. And so, yeah, if they're 3-2 so far, definitely heading in that right direction.
I feel like we've known FaZe to be one of the best Slayer teams in the league, but in practice, I feel like they've been focusing on some of their weaker game types, and now teams are starting to catch up. Some complexity came out with a huge upset against FaZe and Slayer. Maybe Quadrant could do the same here and tie up the series.
Yeah, they need it more than ever. Like I said before, just look at those stats. FaZe are ice cold when they get to game 5, and they have been dominant in Slayers as a whole. They have been the #1 team on the circuit as far as Slayer win percentage goes.
Well, I said maybe things might be a little bit different for FaZe, but I mean, a 4-0 start coming out of them on Streets. Gonna be tough for them to deal with that, but we're gonna just take a step back here, and I really want to talk about Streets as far as analytically. When I think of Streets, I think of very simple: Stalker, Bulldog, Rocket. If you're gonna control that, you can obviously put your opponent's 4 down, influence those spawns, maybe trap them over towards Red Room, Seaside, or man, if you get spawn trapped in PD, that could be dangerous. But what else about Streets makes it so quick and so snowballing?
It's just that there's so many different small angles and little fights that really snowball into unthinkable situations. And so that's one of the problems where a lot of these teams, if they like to play a little bit of slower pace, you don't really get that option in Streets until you spawn over and back Tram or over and back PD. But even then, if you just try to slow it down too much, your teammates are generally getting punished across the map. And so you almost feel, even in a chance where you get a spawn to slow it down and hunker up, you feel like you should push out and charge now rather than let the other team collapse in on you.
Yeah, I feel like once you give a team an inch, they automatically take a mile. You can't give any team space once you go a few down. You have to spawn up. You have to maybe find a duo and break out of your spawn as fast as possible. Otherwise, that team, like I said, will come in, collapse quickly, and ultimately punish you. I want to go on a little bit on the side of Quadrant here. Is there something that you want to see from Quadrant going into this game number 2 that maybe we didn't see in game 1 that could be the turning point? Maybe tie up the series. I'm not giving up on Quadrant.
Well, it felt like they almost committed to some sort of push every single time they tried to break a FaZe setup, and they would never really like turn back or pump the brakes and deal with the people that were behind them. It felt like they were saying, they'd be like, go, enact the plan. Everyone would try to do their own push or do their own play and go towards that oddball, but it was shut down so effectively from FaZe. So I feel like here in a Slayer, they don't have to commit to an all or nothing. And if they do decide to push on out, they need to at least grab a little bit of something. We saw too many pushes from Quadrant where all 4 went down and they would get 0 kills or maybe 1 kill against FaZe. You cannot be having those sort of trades in any sort of push, especially Slayer.
Well, going into this game 2 Slayer, I want to see Quadrant control those rockets and Bulldog a lot better than we saw Overshield and Sniper over towards Livefire. Luckily, things are a bit different. Those rockets over toward the mid-map. Stalker is stuck over on the C side, so depending on where you spawn, you might get a little favorable start to it, but don't forget about that Bulldog. Frosty already addressing the B side. If he can control this, as Quadrant is slow to come out, this can be big. Frosty, but hold on, TchiK. He gets a dub.
TchiK with 3 down. Frosty, the last one standing. We're going to see if the rest of his teammates spawn on over towards PD or B Street. It looks like a little bit of both. SnakeBite wisely pushing out, taking up a little bit more ground. You do not want to get stuck in 1/4 of the map.
Frosty trying to conceal his presence for as long as possible. Once he finds out those players are weak, he rips a double kill out of nowhere and now has a Bulldog because of it. Numbers advantage going towards FaZe quickly. We're seeing Sica and TchiK trying to break out. Same for Lqgend, but as of right now, you talked about it. FaZe taking space, FaZe collapsing. That's exactly what's happening.
And what a ambitious push there from Sica, knowing that player has Bulldog, knowing that they could be right around, but 0 hesitation from these members of Quadrant. They get an advantage and they charge. And look at this, Quadrant, no, they are stuck in tram. We're gonna see how fast they decide to make this move because they got some players weak, and Quadrant like to push those advantages.
Renegade goes down to 1 shot, but he still has that Stalker rifle, and now he gets back to full shields, does Renegade. Couple of shots onto SLG, that'll pull him back, but off screen we are seeing that kill feed light up. 3 down go FaZe, and now Renegade is stuck on an island here.
And look at that clinical precision there from Quadrant. They just took out player after player, let them walk into traps, and eventually picked off Renegade. That was a 4 or 5-4-1. Such a well-played push from Quadrant once they got FaZe stuck in tram.
TchiK coming in with the disruptor. He has the opportunity to clear out the B side, is able to trade out his life, but Quadrant now, this time the ones going 3 down this engagement. Quadrant having a 2-kill lead, but there's 2 positive rockets who have found the hands of SnakeBite.
Yeah, SnakeBite's rockets. This should require at least 1 kill. He knows someone's around that bench. Trades out with SLG, but uncertain if he's going to get hit with more grenades. Great dodging there and just staying alive with his teammate Frosty here to back him up. Frosty leading the way, so SnakeBite doesn't have to do any sort of wild rocket, but feels like it's too good to be true over there. So SnakeBite kind of backs down and is wondering where the rotation is, and he finds the rotation. It's coming over on B Street as he gets the battle and tires and trades out. That's 3 down for Quadrant.
Once again, FaZe winning these engagements, and now we have a tied up game at 15 apiece. Switching gears over towards Renegade. And notice that the subway side is clear, so it looks like FaZe, they want to take control of this immediately. And if the Stalker is up, this can be big. Renegade checking every one of those corners. I know you saw that.
Exactly. Just giving so much credit to these Quadrant players, saying, like, I know they're going to be sneaky. They could be hiding all the way back in this corner. And so when the game slows down in these positions, they are going to check every single sneaky corner that they've ever been killed in during their matchmaking games.
Back-to-back kills, though, coming out of SLG and Sica, and we do find the corner that he's hiding in. This time, SnakeBite checking his as well, does the damage onto SLG, allows Frosty to come in for that bait and switch action, and now Bulldog in the back pocket, control for FaZe, but it's still Quadrant that has that 2-kill lead. Quadrant, they've been playing lights out so far.
I mean, I would almost consider this game a must-win for Quadrant. They don't want to go to game number 5 and a second Slayer and test their chances against FaZe. But if they are able to take this game, I feel like game 3 is almost a guaranteed victory based on how well Quadrant have been on strongholds. Sure, FaZe have probably gone back and watched the film and tried to learn what they can from how Quadrant play it, but this one would be so crucial for Quadrant not only just tie up the series, but to set themselves up for a lead.
SnakeBite is just taking down the leading Slayer in TchiK, and that's huge because every time that kill feed starts to light up blue for Quadrant, it's usually TchiK getting the double kill. So get him off the map, and then you can get aggressive, especially with those rockets. As another 3 down go Quadrant. Only one more player over toward the subway side. Renegade, gonna be the most forward player. TchiK ends up going down. So does SLG. Quadrant are getting cycled and punished.
Such a good prediction of where the spawns were. Even if Renegade did not know where the last member was, he looked across the map, saw all others blocked and said, well, Cafe, Tower, that area's open. I better position myself to do some damage.
We've seen FaZe really start to step it up. Like I said, Quadrant were playing lights out before, but we saw the 3 down that went into the 4 down. Now I want to hop into the comms. What is causing this out of FaZe? Let's go into a FaZe listening real quick.
Island, dude.
One to driveway.
Hey, that? I'm just aimbotting. Yeah, I'm looking mid. I'm shooting mid.
Yeah, we can just chill the game a little bit here.
Ivy weak.
They're gonna go like music and shit. Yeah, they're needing out music.
Yeah, death spot, and Ivy. Yeah, I'm down to kind of bully B.
Yo, Trash, I know he's on open.
Wait, yo, listen to me. Are rockets up in 40?
Yeah. We got
Okay,
40,
okay.
45.
Honestly, let's wait for rockets to come up. 40 seconds. We have so much map.
I like that.
What do you guys want me to watch the stalker here?
Peter, honestly, go rogue. I'll hold left for you.
I shot you.
Yeah, I'm giving a purple pretty much. I'm just hiding. Yeah,
Do you want a Mando instead, Peter?
Yeah.
I can jump. Yeah, I'll drop you a BR, bro.
Playing long con for rockets. Rocks in 30. I'm giving him.
Hear that. You should UAV like P1 or cuts.
I'm getting Mando. He's two on me. Tires and arcade.
They're trying to push.
I'm weak, man. I'm weak.
I don't see tires.
Rocks in 20. Rocks in 20.
I think he's laundry, guys.
I live up. Okay. Mid map, guys. Mid map. Weak mid map.
Rocks in 15.
I'm just living up. There's a guy somewhere mid.
Another ATM.
Rocks in 10.
ATM.
Rockets in 5.
Yep, Rocks in
PJ,
5.
2 pushing cafe. One cross.
Heard. I'm ratting here.
Then shoddy.
Yep, Rocks up now.
Can you guys make a play for me now?
You can try when I shoot him.
Tell me when.
Rockets are up. Rockets are up.
On rockets.
On rockets.
I felt B subs rockets.
Got him. Rockets are dead. Yeah, he's Mando going B steps. Mando going B steps.
Stalker.
Rockets are out,
Stalker's
guys.
like one bullet. Stalker's like one bullet. Alright, yo, slow it down, keep working together.
They're gonna have to.
We're almost out of rockets, no?
Guys, spawn here. Yeah, rockets are.
Okay, back.
I spawn here. We should fight this.
Okay.
I'm just.
Yo,
they're
tire gen.
Agent as well.
Watch your
One shot back tower. There's 2.
We're gonna spike.
Yeah, we're kind of.
Every doorway.
On me, John. On me. Front on me.
Nice.
He's like 45.
Cafe. All good.
I get 2. Nice, Sean.
He's weak on John. They're still at a fucking bandit on you.
Yeah, they're gonna kill John. Let him die.
How long for soccer?
Not for a while.
Alright, we should wait for this. I'm watching. I have your B cross.
You heard that coordination from FaZe, what areas of the maps they wanted to hold down, who they were leaving behind. I mean, if I was John on that microphone here and just let John like, no, don't let me go, come back. There's time to get me.
But you can't be mad at them whatsoever, because the last thing FaZe want to do is overextend, put themselves into a bad situation. So sometimes you got to go. And Renegade, you had to go in order to hold on to this 41-34 lead that you have right now. And now both World 2 and SnakeBite playing so sneaky. It looks like SnakeBite's position is revealed. World 2 starting to get over toward the tire side. Nobody home. It's actually a far rotation onto purple, and that nade does connect, so the trade working out for FaZe.
Yeah, interesting posturing during some of these neutral scenarios. A lot of times, once the game slows down too much, you have to give the assumption that the team either is watching that spot or they have a trap set up there. So sometimes I feel like it's not the smartest play to set up a trap, because players and teams are going to expect, they're not just going to say, oh, they're not randomly watching this core, this lane or this side of the map. They're watching it, but they're doing it in a different way. So I think that sometimes you give too much map control in those scenarios.
I'm seeing Quadrant starting to find some of the kills. The problem is that a lot of these are trades, and every single trade works in favor of FaZe Clan at the moment. You have a 4-kill lead, and you're only 5 away from taking this game, and Lqgend finds himself in a dangerous position, but a distraction for TchiK to get away with the rockets. That's a huge one for him, and now 2 on the feed.
Yeah, far from over. 3 dead. SnakeBite the only one alive. Looks like they're going to continue to try to cycle and stagger these spawns. TchiK pushing in and trying to find any member he can of FaZe. Checking all the corners, doing everything he can. Takes out Royal too, but SnakeBite, his teammate, Scott is back.
Once again, a 2-kill game. Make it a 3 after Frosty taking down yet another one. Renegade sitting up high, waiting for that Stalker to come up. Things gonna slow down just a bit. Actually, excuse me, Frosty, he's getting aggressive over towards B stairs.
Well, I don't blame FaZe for getting aggressive a little bit right there, because based on Quadrant's past history, as soon as they get advantage, they start to push up and start to get nearby the opposing team. So FaZe were trying to say, are there any other stragglers near our base that are trying to charge in on tram or subway that they can pick off? So they quick tried to find them. They saw Sica running away towards the end, but the right idea was there, is they were able to turn that defensive moment into an offensive time if anyone was overextended.
Quadrant only down by 2 kills at the moment, so they're definitely not out of it, especially with TchiK dropping that 18-9, but he ends up going down, and that's a critical death. Now for Quadrant, you can only afford just one more kill. Renegade still has that Stalker, also has one up high, goes in for the challenge, and that teamwork making the dream work. FaZe Clan up 2-0 in the series.
FaZe Clan are looking good, but they know the job is not done yet. Quadrant have a momentum shifter coming up right next here on Strongholds. It's been historically their best game type. Can they continue the streak, or has momentum shifted too much so far in the series? Are they just a little too down and out against FaZe?
What's crazy to me is I feel like every time we talk about FaZe Clan on Slayer and even on Streets especially, we talk about how fast-paced the game is, but right there, I think it was a combination of both speeding up that game and slowing it down. We're having the ability to take care of your advantage, and when it's a 4v3 or 4v2, get aggressive, but when you don't, maybe get into a little corner, maybe get a little bit of free information, maybe some free damage onto your opponent, and ultimately playing through that. I think FaZe ultimately put on a clinic on how to play Slayer multiple different ways within a single game.
Yeah, I felt like they just did such a good job of anytime they set those traps, they let Quadrant walk right into them. There were many situations where Quadrant did do some very effective pushes, but more often than not, it felt like as soon as a Quadrant push started, FaZe could kind of wait around a corner, they could get a trade for a 1-for-1, and they would catch the aggression from Quadrant and punish it.
I still gotta give a shout out to my man TchiK. 18-10 in a Slayer. I know Quadrant didn't win, but they gotta be impressed with that. Even when the lights are brightest, these boys doing their thing, but now we have one more chance. We are going to Strongholds though.
And look at these 2023 stats for Stronghold. FaZe 10-8, Quadrant 15-0. If history is any indicator of this next game result, it's going for Quadrant.
I don't know if I'm ready to count my chickens before they hatch, though. Count my chicks before they hatch. I want to see it, though, because you're still staring down the reticle, staring down the barrel of FaZe Clan, who are looking to sweep you and get revenge. They're trying to go back to back to back. And as of right now, Quadrant, you're in the way.
One thing Quadrant have going against them, though, is with this new map here. We know all these players on the FaZe squad. You know, everyone here was incredible at Halo 5, but specifically these members on the FaZe squad were all so good here on the old version of this plaza.
Back-to-back kills going in favor of Quadrant, and man, they take control quick. A-B setup already coming out of Quadrant, but they didn't get the sniper. It found the hands of Frosty.
And look at these guys. Let's see the way they play this, because, you know, having a really strong winning record is something. To be undefeated in Strongholds, period, that's an absolute statement, and they have to have a very consistent method to their madness to recreate that over and over again against the best teams in the world on LAN.
Quadrant going 3 down. Lqgend doesn't care. Lqgend gets a double kill to kind of equalize the situation just a bit. FaZe gonna have to pull out of that position ultimately to take him down. SLG following it up with the kills, but it's still Quadrant that holds on to both Alpha and Bravo, and a Hail Mary by SLG.
It ain't Sunday yet, but their backs are against the walls, and SLG is saying his prayers because they want to get this series going to a Game 4 and beyond. 48-0 run coming out of Quadrant. Earlier,
in this tournament. They're actually 250 to 2 native white. And as of right now, they're looking to do the same thing to FaZe. What a run so far. We do see FaZe going in for the longer rotation, able to take away Charlie, but now that SLG finds out where they're coming from, goes in for the challenge, no fear whatsoever.
Gets the trade out, and that's the most important part. We're going to see FaZe for the first part of this game put some points on the board. Now TchiK is going to flank on over towards C, but he's got somebody behind him. That's going to be Renegade watching that lift, knowing a little bit of what Quadrant's plan is, saying we can't just get a kill and run away. We have to guard them because Quadrant are going to flank.
And not only is it the first points on the board coming out of FaZe Clan, but a trip cap at that. FaZe have gotten complete map control, and now it's Quadrant the ones that are spawning over toward the tram side of the map and forced to break out. And as they're doing that, Royal 2 takes down Lqgend. Renegade does a little bit of damage, but just peeks right out of that situation. They're just calling them out. They're daring Quadrant to push up.
And look at this, Lqgend. Seems like it's in their playbook here from Quadrant to somehow slip somebody bottom center and flank all the way over towards C to recapture that, but Renegade sniffing that out already. However, 3 members down. Quadrant are going to be able to put C on the board, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them grab B as well, and that's exactly what they're going for.
But you see how strong that triple cap was. 1 triple cap, 1 run for FaZe, ends up getting 64 points. Quadrant do end up answering back, getting a double cap of their own, and now you have 3 members of FaZe trying to battle it out over towards the driveway tram side. Royal 2, he's going to find the exit.
Yeah, the height advantage there on driveway is going to result in multiple kills. Sica, the last one alive, has sniper, but all those members of Quadrant are going to be spawning over towards that lift. Let's see how FaZe react to this. Do they decide to push him for the kills and go for the trip cap, or let Quadrant trickle out one by one?
Well, as they're getting the kills, it looks like they may just be pushing it for the trip cap. That might be exactly what you want to see, because Frosty comes in quick. Nest is his. Quadrant recognize that, so they rotate over towards Alpha, but it takes 2 to tango. And as of right now, FaZe has the double kill. Frosty has the blainer.
FaZe are just keeping up in rotations here with Quadrant. Every single time it seems like Quadrant's making a brilliant play and rotating around. FaZe are there to match them, and they match with equal or more firepower.
And as we've seen the fight over Alpha, the game's tied up, and it looks like FaZe are about to take the lead for the first time here in this game, and Quadrant still find themselves 2 down and still find them set up, or at least fighting a setup that FaZe have on them. Frosty 1 shot in the S7. SnakeBite doing damage on the kill feed. He's gonna take heights. Not quite the headshot.
Frosty was doing a great job watching that angle, but effectively, his team was fighting a 3-on-4 across the map. Until he got that body shot, Quadrant were able to outnumber across the map, and because of that, you saw a couple kills go in their favor.
Quadrant stack numbers are usually able to get the kills necessary. And they already have Charlie working on Alpha, so once again, Quadrant getting control, and that kill feed lighting up blue. TchiK gets another one in. SnakeBite opening up the map completely. FaZe off a spawn, gonna go after Charlie. Maybe this is Quadrant's opportunity to work Bravo. Oh, no, they're gonna headbutt.
I like this play by TchiK. Rather than forcing Bravo, go get the C control, make sure that's locked down. They got themselves a trip cap. Let's see how many points they get on the board.
What's better than out-rotating going B, taking Charlie and B at the same exact time? That's what Quadrant do. They're getting greedy, but that's the reason why they are the best strongholds team in the HCS. 131 to 122 lead. FaZe take back Bravo, immediately go down. Quadrant swapping it right out.
Huge props to FaZe, though. I mean, that trip cap got denied pretty quick. We've seen many other scary situations where Quadrant gets a trip cap and goes on a 50 to 80 point run. So for FaZe to get out of that so quickly is a testament to their defensive ability.
But the same way FaZe are fighting after these 1 points, in the same way that Quadrant out-rotate him, Alpha goes in the hands of FaZe. Quadrant take over Charlie, and they're getting the kills while all this happens. Half of the members of FaZe on the black screen, the other half forced to slow the game down. And while they're slowing it down, Quadrant is speeding it up. They want yet another trip cap.
Oh, I just assumed he was going to teleport back as soon as he got the yard cap to try to help all the way across the map. It was certain that FaZe were rotating away, and looks like that rotation has been met. Bottom snipe lift. All these players of FaZe trapped down there. Frosty gonna try to get B, while his teammate SnakeBite is getting C.
Band the right for the hands of Frosty, trying to fight over Bravo, but it's not going to go his way. The reset comes in once again for Quadrant, but now FaZe are sending bodies once again over toward the mid side. It didn't work the first time, but the second time does. Bravo's taking over, and we have a setup for FaZe.
And look at this. Fight aggression with aggression. FaZe, rather than sitting back and letting Quadrant make the first move, decide to push on through loop and go for the yard themselves. Lqgend somehow sneaking behind. How many times have we seen this from Sica, TchiK, or Lqgend? Somehow sneaking all the way over towards C and making these members of FaZe look back and forth, not sure if they want to go on the aggressive towards A or if they have to go back and protect their property.
Players from Quadrant are always actively moving. They're either defending or out-rotating, but they're doing something on the map. The problem is when FaZe only put them 3 down, like you just saw, it forces players to make individual plays, but Lqgend, he steps up to the challenge.
Lqgend's got that snipe, gonna hit it on Frosty over at the loop, and this one's gonna be A and B setup coming for Quadrant. Now do they decide to hold A, or are they gonna go and be aggressive towards the snipe lift at C?
Quadrant, the first one to
What a
pass the
sneaky
200
play.
mark.
Sneaky play from Renegade there. You notice that he did not step toe inside the A yard. That is why you didn't see Lqgend whatsoever look over towards the right. So he took a long loop around the yard to try to catch someone off guard. But Lqgend, still with such a sick shot, was able to hit that sniper buy shot and trade the kill out.
And that momentary lapse of timing created by that flank allows FaZe to take the control necessary in order to take away Charlie and Bravo. But SLG and Sica back-to-back kills once again. FaZe are able to clear out the rest. You only have one more player to deal with. SnakeBite says, you know what? That kill's not important. Let me drop the portal. Let's get our defensive stance in. Make sure nobody's able to sneak over towards Bravo or Charlie.
Yeah, the reason SnakeBite didn't want to force that is it's kind of a lose-lose situation. Either Quadrant were going to spawn there and outnumber SnakeBite, or SnakeBite was going to mess up the spawns, and FaZe would have no idea if they're spawning hotel or bottom lift, and really kind of throw their setup out of whack.
SnakeBite working alpha, almost able to take it away, but realized the double push is coming in for Quadrant, ends up portaling out, but then portals right back to steal it away. Does SnakeBite? Alpha does end up changing hands. It's over for FaZe, but now Quadrant, bottom mid. Bravo might just be taken. Can FaZe get the kills? No, it looks like Sica's gonna get that one.
And that is going to be 2 hills, Renegade and World 2 down, SnakeBite and Frosty, it's up to them. Frosty gets a kill on his half of the map. Does SnakeBite decide to push this, or does he wait for his teammates? Looks like he's feeling the pressure and feels like he has to make something happen. Sica backs him down in loop, and now SnakeBite down for this next push. That is one of the tricky plays against Quadrant, is you don't know if you need to be pushing in your neutral scenarios, or if you have to back down and wait for the rest of your teammates.
This could be the final push coming out of FaZe, and as it happens, it looks like Quadrant's starting to find the kills, but Voil 2 coming in out of nowhere. Renegade is gonna follow it up, and Voil 2 is fighting to steal away Bravo. It does end up changing hands, but it's Quadrant that only need 5 more seconds. FaZe have control, and they're finding the slates.
Quadrant aren't panicking though. You saw at the end there, you didn't see Lqgend just jump into the bottom center hill and give up the free life. They're playing it patient. They know they have to get the kills, and the hill points will follow. C exchanging hands back and forth. Renegade getting taken out by Lqgend over at the posters. That's 2 down. We have a 2-on-2, and that's going to be Quadrant closing out the game.
Quadrant put FaZe between a rock and a hard place. They had to slay out, they had to go after Charlie, and they baited them into that next push, and once they got the kills, the reset came easy, and now Quadrant are on the board.
Quadrant won the game that they knew they would most likely win. You know they were hoping to take at least one of those first 2 rounds. But now, backs against the wall. I mean, we saw not too long ago, Tony, a reverse sweep. Is it possible here again to see 2 matches in a row here in Salt Lake where we might see a reverse sweep? I'm not calling it just yet. I mean, there's a tall order here. You somehow have to take out FaZe and Aquarius CTF, which I would consider close enough to a coin flip between these 2 teams. And then you have a Slayer Game 5, which is heavily favored toward FaZe.
Yeah, I mean, after that performance by Lqgend, 24 kills and all of Quadrant in that Stronghold Solitude, I want to believe they could pull off the reverse sweep. I want to believe they could send it to a Game 5, but the same way that Strongholds was Quadrant's best game type, this might just be FaZe's, as of right now, undefeated here in this tournament.
And look at this. Both these teams undefeated in CTF so far. 5-0 for Quadrant, 3-0 for FaZe. Going into Aquarius CTF, neither of them want to have this loss. This loss would determine Quadrant's tournament life. Whereas FaZe, they would have to go to a crucial and nail-biting Game 5, which they want no part of. They want to end the series right here, right now, go to bed, and replan for tomorrow.
I don't know if that's possible because, like you said it. I said FaZe were undefeated, but you read the stats. It looks like Quadrant are 2, and Quadrant even had more opportunities to play capture the flag. 5-0 are Quadrant. So you got a 16-0 Stronghold record, a 5-0 record in CTF. I mean,
they're doing something right.
The reason why they got third place at Arlington, man. Quadrant are the real deal. The question now becomes, can you take this game number 4? Can you send it over to a Game 5? You said you already seen one reverse sweep. Why not another?
I mean, they get a nice long game here on Aquarius CTF. Lots of opportunities to throw FaZe off. One thing that was so impressive during that game number 3 was just the flanking ability of these players. They know Aquarius so well. They know when they can extend a little bit, when they can try to stretch. FaZe's defense is a little thin. Try to make them a bit disoriented. Not sure if they should be focusing on the Quadrant base or going back to their own base and clearing out members. That is one of Quadrant's strengths. They know how and when to separate. Can they do it again here? 2 games in a row.
One thing I've been noticing about Quadrant all tournament long is that there's always one of their main players that's popping off. It's either TchiK or Lqgend. TchiK or Lqgend. They bounce back with it. But I think in this capture the flag Aquarius, I think they both have to step it up. They both have to drop bombs because you know how heavily FaZe want to slay. If Quadrant win this game, I promise you, it's going to be Lqgend and TchiK that have pop-off games. That's my prediction, and unlike you, I get some right. Wow.
I was called out for some poor predictions earlier, even though I don't even know if I made any. But we will have to see if that holds true here in game number 4. We got a long Aquarius CTF ahead of ourselves. Both teams opt in to grab that thruster pack in their courtyard. And here comes the early aggression from Quadrant. They immediately push inside the FaZe court.
But as Quadrant starts to push up, it looks like FaZe are able to identify it, so they're going to answer right back. Both teams end up going 2 down, and Quadrant stepping up once again. Is this about to be a flagpole?
And look at this intimate knowledge of the map. TchiK knowing that he can still push to the flag and get that grab before they spawn on back flag. Unfortunate for TchiK. FaZe, they got the utility spawns.
Flag is stopped short. Sica recognizes the situation. He's not going to overextend and give up his life that easily. He does end up doubling back, puts down a bit of damage, but now it's World 2 with the QT. You got a QT with the QT, and if he stays alive, that can spell defeat. I'm done.
It's an interesting spot to place that, though, because I feel like generally with that teleport, you're going to want to get up to a higher angle so that you can come back and help support your teams. But look at this. Maybe this is his main plan all along, is just get a little bit closer to the base as fast as he needs to. He's not worried about laying down shot tops mid. He's worried about getting inside the Quadrant base to get a flagpole.
With that portal play, Quadrant ends up going 3 down, and Royal 2 quick with the flagpole before anybody's able to overextend. That flag is already in the base of FaZe. Another 3 down for Quadrant. Royal 2 punches this one in, and FaZe are already going to get offensive over toward the Quadrant base. They still have numbers. They still have map control.
Great objective efficiency as they got those slays. When I last counted, it was 6 kills for Quadrant. Make that 15 kills now for FaZe. Heavily outslaying here. When you get those kills, you need to translate those into captures, and FaZe did a perfect job of that.
Couple shots onto Royal 2 as he starts the flagpole, but they need the kills in order to follow through. And the trade is ultimately not what they're looking for, but Frosty pulls a perfect kill out of nowhere. Once again, Quadrant goes 3 down. Frosty grabs a hold of that quantum translocator, sets the portal, and is already watching his teammates back. Makes that player one shot, stays alive, and that flag is still moving.
Yeah, and that flag could have still been moving on over. Looks like Frosty gonna try himself, decides to do a little juke, run up towards top center with that teleport, and gets all this damage on Sica. It's so tough to call out where this player's at. You can't call where they were at previously and camp that portal. Not when the flag's moving across the map.
2-0 start coming in for FaZe. Lqgend is the first one over towards utility side of FaZe, but somehow SnakeBite throws a prediction grenade that lands right into the lap of Lqgend and slows down that push, and now you see a counter pull coming in out of FaZe. Renegade over toward the util side. Quadrant, they desperately need this return, but FaZe, they're just looking for 1 or 2 more kills.
You know, that was a great play by Royal too. Looks like he got that flagpole, tossed it out. Some points you can fight aggressive play with an aggression of your own. Why sit back on your own half and play defense the whole time when you can force Quadrant to be in the area of the map that you want by just pulling their flag?
And Renegade is still in the base of Quadrant, being a nuisance. Royal 2 trying to clear out his base. Excellent denial grenade going to connect and trade out his life, but that flag never passed the 50% portion of the map, so Quadrant quick on the return, still down by 2 caps.
Great 2-shot melee by SnakeBite there, getting that out right at the finish line before Lqgend got his punch in. Getting those trades is so huge in a situation like this, especially as they get closer to your base. Here's a random pull coming on out. Now, I feel like FaZe is going to kind of welcome this. They do not mind if a pull is happening randomly because they can just focus on map control and slays. They have 2 down. They're not in any sort of panic to get that flag recovered. In fact, they can just watch it. Lqgend sniffing out where a player might be hiding to guard that flag. They're not going to get the touch, but they're going to go for control once again.
Wow.
And just because of a tricky pull here, pulls FaZe into some obscure locations. FaZe was going for the slays, but Quadrant was 1 step ahead.
Great life coming out of Lqgend right there. Eventually does end up going down, but his presence was obviously felt by FaZe. Renegade trying to push up, and now the rest of Quadrant slowly starting to move into position, and that includes SLG with the Quantum Translocator over towards the base, finds himself 1, ends up putting down damage onto the second player, but eventually SLG goes down before he's able to portal back.
Frosty coming back to help fight on his home turf. This is a do or die play. When you get that outside spawner, once you're outside the base, you either need to secure those kills or you need to secure more ground. Frosty opted to go back and get kills, was not successful, and this could be the first flag going in here for Sica and the Quadrant roster.
Quadrant are on the board, only down by 1, and you got plenty of time on the board. But now we're seeing Quadrant not only getting the cap, but also following it up with the kills. World 2 answers right back with a double kill of his own. That opens up the map completely for FaZe.
Keep in mind, when we talk about objective efficiency, Quadrant is by far the more objective, efficient roster. They don't need to heavily outslay FaZe. They don't need to outslay them, per se. If they go 1 for 1 in kills for the rest of this game, Quadrant will put in flag caps. But that's still a tall order. You're going against some of the best players in the world here, against Frosty, Renegade, Royal 2, and SnakeBite. It's not easy just to kill them.
Especially when SnakeBite is shooting like this. Beautiful shots to take down TchiK, and as that happens, Quadrant goes 3 down. Flag is already pulled over toward the courtyard side. FaZe realize they don't have the timing, so they're going to try to play for another round of slays. SnakeBite staying alive over towards P, thrust forward. Teammates watching his back. The flag may have been returned, but Quadrant's their troubles aren't stopping because they have SnakeBite over towards your base. Heatwave in hand. TchiK, they got to get this kill.
Just a little dance around the back of the base. TchiK and SnakeBite gonna trade those kills out, but during that turmoil, Quadrant gonna pull a flag and toss it out.
How annoying must it be for Quadrant? I mean, every single time you turn, that flag is thrown out toward the courtyard side, and you don't even know whether FaZe is going to commit to that run or not. Lots of times, they just throw it out just to use it as a distraction. Literally the most annoying team on the queer is just a bunch of Karens running around.
I didn't realize that we had that second member of FaZe inside the Quadrant base who was trying to help the SnakeBite to get that pull. Fantastic defense from Quadrant in a situation that we thought was a counter pull. The situation we thought that both bases were under attack. FaZe clearly overall in control throughout these. Look at that, zero hesitation, Renegade. He gets the advantage, he slides on out, gets the kill. That's gonna be 3 down, TchiK, the last one alive.
SnakeBite over toward the util side. Able to get that kill, and hold on, another flag is being pulled by FaZe from util to util, and I don't think he's taking any damage. SLG, the only forward player from Quadrant, but he's not far enough. That's another flag cap for FaZe.
Just too many times Quadrant are fighting to the death. They are dying from the very first member of FaZe that they see. They aren't playing their lives the way we typically see them play. They're usually so good about staying alive longer, but look at this, in a panic, charging player after player, touch after touch, death after death.
And SnakeBite trades out his life to make sure that flag is stuck over toward the mid side. And I'm not sure how Quadrant are going to be able to advance forward. That's in a terrible spot at the moment. Very baitable position, a baitable position at that. And Quadrant right now have to focus to get the fridge side. But somehow Sica ends up with the touch. And now that flag is over toward the courtyard side, ends up going 3 down for it. Is that a counterplay opportunity for FaZe?
That touch is a blessing and a curse. A situation where Quadrant thought they had a glimmer of hope to capture that flag, but instead it was a FaZe trap. FaZe had a player on the flag. They're getting a counter grab of their own. They put in the 4th flag. FaZe are 1 flag away from closing out this game in series.
4-1 lead for FaZe, and like you said, just 1 more cap needed, and map control, I was about to say for FaZe, but what a nade coming out of Quadrant, clearing out the B side. And now you're seeing Quadrant in the base of FaZe and give them a taste of their own medicine. We're gonna go in for that early pull, and the car side players are denying access to that line of sight. Flag onto bottom car, and FaZe, they're not able to get to it.
Great pull, but can Quadrant get the follow-up slays needed to secure that capture? There's 2 kills by SLG and Lqgend. That is looking good for this flag. Now if Quadrant are able to do this, they gotta just do it 2 more times. This one should almost certainly be going in. FaZe are not gonna commit any more resources towards that.
FaZe working on clearing out their base. Sica is able to get the first kill for Quadrant. That's gonna be big for them. You see Lqgend and Sica already pushing up. SLG gonna dominate the P side, so a bit of an off angle, gets a heat wave because of it. Quadrant, you're looking for 1 or 2 kills, 2 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock.
SLG seeing his teammates fall across the map. Deciding what his next play is gonna be. Does he lay down a couple shots, finish off the kill, or reposition and get ready for a new pull? Looks like they have the traps up over at car. They get 1 pick. 2 made players over in court, cannot push there. SLG wants to find a way. He does not want to leave the very end of the game to desperately get 2 caps. They want to get a cap, and they want one now to give themselves some room for error.
Killing spree being earned by SLG, but doesn't seem to be enough. TchiK does follow it up, but once that information is given to FaZe, they hunt down every single one of these kills, and time is winding down.
Lqgend living in that situation in such a crucial spot. Lqgend is over at the FaZe base near their flag. Because that kill was not traded out by Royal 2, Lqgend now has this flag moving over towards bottom car. Royal 2 and Frosty, last 2 alive, trying to stop this flag. Too much pressure over at car side. Can it be done? Can Quadrant put in this 3rd flag and give themselves a chance at winning this game number 4?
If they could put it within 1, maybe it's possible, but Royal 2 and Renegade clear out the utility side, and another reach-on comes in, and now FaZe are starting what might be the final flag cap. Quadrant not only have to stop this, get the return, but also work on 2 flag caps in just a minute of time.
SnakeBite trying to guard that flag as bait. Secondarily, wanted to push over towards Util. Get that area secured so that members of Quadrant would spawn over at the fridge instead of in more beneficial spots. Look at that. That was from SnakeBite rotating over towards Util.
43 seconds on the clock, and Quadrant finds himself 3 down once again. TchiK has to do everything he can to not only get these kills, but he has to stay alive. Quadrant need numbers in order to get map control, and as of right now, they're constantly fighting off a spawn.
And look at this. The best offense, or I should say the best defense is a good offense. You see these members of FaZe not afraid to push up towards the Quadrant base and get these slays. And look at this. They are just camped over in the flag, but not going to pull it. They just want to slay. They realize that Quadrant have to somehow get 2 caps, and that's TchiK throwing in the towel, saying that this is not possible in this time frame. Quadrant gave it their all, but not enough against FaZe. Give these teams a round of applause as FaZe will be going on to the elimination semifinals. Quadrant going out in 5th/6th. We had high hopes for them, but they had a tall order. So many strong teams they had to play back to back to back through pool play. The starting match of today against Optic, eventually falling to FaZe.
I think Quadrant, I mean, they're hungry. They really are. And I think it really does show. Their strongholds, they're clearly the best strongholds team in the world as they remain undefeated. I know the scoreline is 4-2, but a couple of things go the way of Quadrant, and we could have seen them ultimately take this game and maybe send it into a game 5, but FaZe are on a mission right now. Again, they're going in for that three-peat, and to be honest with you, they look angry. Even after that win, no celebration, no smile. They look angry that they're here this low in the elimination bracket.
Yeah, they still got their work cut out. We'll have to see who they end up facing in the elimination semis, but tournament life still alive. That's the important part. Quadrant, you know they're gonna be watching back those films, seeing what they could have done different. That Aquarius flag felt like a little panic from time to time, trying to force too many caps, trying to just force too much. I didn't feel like they played their lives as they historically did. There's so many times in the past I'd see SLG running around, staying alive, buying as much time. Here they were just going one after the other, trying to force a fight, fighting a fight till the death, rather than buying time and waiting for a teammate to help them.
Well, it looks like FaZe's hopes of going for the three-peat are still alive. In fact, they're still undefeated and capture the flag. I would love to send it down to Blaze. I'm sure he has to interview one of these players, and let's find out how they feel after that big win.
Yeah.